Okay, we're gonna move on to a different topic slightly. So I think Shrieker and I have heard your opinion about this. But I always thought it's a unique opinion. Your opinion about like having kids, in the
Yeah.
future. So I think it'd be pretty interesting if you could just really quickly like just share your like this type of viewpoint with everyone else watching.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So my viewpoint is regardless of whenever I get married, my choice is to not have kids. Um, and it stems from different reasons. Like, number one, I don't like being around kids.
Fair enough.
That's
Low
fair.
key.
Yeah,
Kids are kind of smelly.
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
love a good kid every now and then. Oh, that sounded weird. Sorry, not like that. Like kids are fun to be around, you know? They're a wonderful pleasure. They say the wackiest shit, but oh god, they suck. Like
Yeah,
parents look miserable. Just take that as your cue.
yeah, yeah. I would say I'm a pretty patient person, but around kids, like patience disappears so fast.
Dude, yeah. they
That's
be
fair. That's fair.
You'd be trying
Yeah,
to bake them cookies and shit and they'd be fucking with all the flour, you
yeah.
know? Like
Right. Right. Yeah.
fucking
That
with the
really.
kitchen utensils. Nah, bro.
And
Yeah.
then like two, just the way the world is going. And from a pessimistic view, I don't really see humanity doing too well with climate change in the future.
Hmm.
That's
So
fair.
it would get too unbearable for that. And some countries are losing access to water, and
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't really see any point in bringing life into this world just to go through that. And
No, that's
kind of
fair.
like um, a view that I sort of go back and forth on. It can be viewed as selfish, and
Yeah.
yeah, not just from an environmental point of view of like how to how to feed another mouth, how to go through all those emissions, all the transportation costs associated with that, and sort of the waste generated in the first few years, and then as well as whatever ends up phasing out, like quotes and stuff. But then also, um, like um, I know adoption is pretty expensive, but that's already a kid out there who needs a home.
That's true. No, you're right.
Right. I think
That's facts.
adoption makes more sense to me than having kids
Mm-hmm.
because there is a huge cost, almost unquantifiable, and in so many different respects, like you said, environmental, food, water, transportation, carbon emissions of having a kid. Not to mention, your own kids are expensive.
Yeah.
Right.
um,
Right. Yeah.
and I your perspective made me wonder whether having a child was selfish or not. Because my
Mm.
own like desire to have a kid sort of stems from an insecurity that I don't want to be forgotten or meaningless in a way. Because passing on kin is in some sense passing on my memory or my life.
Right. Right.
And thinking about it from that sense, it's totally selfish because sort of share that same pessimism that I'm not sure how well we're going to do with climate change
Yeah.
either. I don't know what kind of world we're going to be faced with in a couple of years. But then the other half is that, like, what if you bring in the next genius into the world who's able to solve all that sort of stuff, right?
Mhm.
It's, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, the way I think about it is like, well, none of us are married, so
Yeah.
Yeah, what do we
I don't
know?
think any of us are planning on having kids anytime particularly soon. So I think
Yeah.
we have some time until we have to make that decision, right?
Yeah.
Facts, facts.
So we have a lot of time, I think.
Yeah, we do.
So I think it's something worth thinking about, but it's not like you have to make your final decision. Right?
That's so true.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That being
Uh,
said, how set are you in this mindset, Ganesh?
I would say probably at least 98% sure.
90%. So you're
that's
basically there. Okay.
that's a
Okay.
lot of percent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's cool though. No, that makes sense though. I think that
Yeah.
like reasoning and
The
everything.
reasoning makes sense.
Reasoning does make sense too.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it's sort of hard to have your thinking brain dominate your feeling brain, especially in a
Mhm.
scenario like this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something that affects your life so heavily.
Mhm.
right. Because that
Yeah.
totally leads into like, how's that dynamic going to work with your potential partner in the future, right? Would you like break off a relationship with someone because they wanted to have kids, or you try to work it out?
I don't know. I feel like if you're trying to, if you're like thinking long term with a partner, I'm sure you would have thought of that already
Mhm.
before you. Like,
Yeah.
That's true, but that sort of goes back to what Ganesh just said, the emotional part of your brain versus the thinking side.
Mhm.
Because the
Mm.
thinking side is saying kids are not what I want. They're not for me. I don't want to deal with that. But then the emotional side is meeting someone and then interacting with them a lot, falling in love, and then being faced with that difficult decision.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a decision you have to make at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I brought it up. There's no good answer.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I feel like part of the reason you would like fall in love with that person is if
If
they
they
kind of share,
share,
yeah, if they share the same view as you, right?
that's
It's definitely possible that you would fall in love with them
well,
and they didn't share the same view, but I feel like
yeah.
that's something, if you really care about it, that's something you'd probably figure out before you like
yeah.
full on
Yeah,
commit.
early on, just on the first date, just make sure you get that
Yeah,
out
it's
of the way.
like, hey, I'm Ganesh. Do you want to have kids? No? Okay, cool.
Next. Oh, that's funny.
That's
And
one way to do it.
being forthcoming is the way to go.
Mhm.
But
Oh yes, definitely.
I didn't quite catch what you said earlier. Are you for adoption or against adoption?
Before it, yeah.
Okay, so if you
For
were
it.
to have a kid, you'd rather adopt.
Rather, so yes.
Okay,
That makes sense.
low key, adoption makes so much sense to me. I feel like my
Yeah.
parents would not like the idea, but it makes so much sense.
No, I mean I
Like
agree. Yeah.
altruistically, just environmentally,
Mhm.
morally, I don't know, from every angle.
Yeah, I mean there is kind of like a, I don't
There's
know, like a stigma, I guess, like around
yeah.
it. I don't really
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I'll say it's a stupid stigma, honestly.
I agree.
I
I
think
think it's
so
kind of a
too.
stupid stigma. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it exists more so in like the Indian brown community.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
for
Prob-
sure.
than,
yeah.
like other communities.
Plus,
So,
not to
I
mention,
don't
you can adopt when they're out of that shitty time period when they're babies, and they're
Oh,
like
yeah.
mucking around, like
know.
can't do shit. Just kind of smell bad.
This guy's. Well, I don't know. I mean,
I'm gonna get roasted for this in the comments.
oh no, commenters, please spare
Yeah.
us. Spare us.